How do I approach the process of cold calling? I
Okay.
mean, there are various angles, right? But
Got it.
like, yeah, that's it's a big question.
Okay. The one thing that I will offer that really helps me in doing cold calls is the initial sentence, which needs to serve two functions. The first is making sure that the person that you're talking to knows who you are. And number two, asking them about themselves. And I generally find that the easiest way to ask them about themselves is to ask about a challenge that they're facing. So, a cold call, in fact, most of my cold calls were with people who knew who Jesse Johnson was. Like they had met me at a party or a meditation retreat, or like they knew me as a human, but they didn't know me as a coach. I have made some cold calls and I would still make cold calls. And I have taught a lot of people to make cold calls where the person really has no idea who you are. And in that situation, you need to say a little bit more. My company does this. We specialize in supporting people just like you. I'm calling today to learn more about you and what you're currently struggling with. Sales has a bad rap for a reason. Telemarketing has a bad rap for a reason because it comes from traditionally this very non-consensual, impersonal stand that, like traditional sales, measures success based on your ability to sell anything to anybody, whether they want it or not, whether they need it or not, whether they can afford it or not, irrelevant. That's not what we're talking about here, right? We're like dramatically talking about a very different kind of sales, rebranding sales. P.S. Let's completely rebrand sales as a culture, right? This is part of what can help you stay motivated to learn sales is that you get to help move the needle on what it means. People, rightly so, when they anticipate or get their spidey senses triggered that they might be going in the direction of that kind of sales, are not going to want to participate. So how do you interrupt that? By asking them a question as soon as possible. If you could avoid introducing yourself and just say, hey, I'm calling today to learn more about you and what challenges you're facing. What's the biggest challenge you're facing today? In your business, in your life, in your relationship, in the bedroom, wherever it is you have expertise. That would be great for them. You're giving them context so that they will listen to the question. Once you've asked the question, you're in a different conversation than anyone has ever had before. And then you're just listening. Genuinely, what is this person suffering with? Every human being on the planet is suffering. How can I relieve suffering today? It might be just by listening. I didn't actually say this to anyone out loud. I don't think it was conscious, but I think if we could go back in time and ask my past self, Jesse, of these 100 calls, how many people do you think will hang up on you? I would have predicted like 99, like I was so sure that people were going to hate me. And no one hung up on me. Of all 100, no one hung up. And only one of the 100 was like explicitly kind of pissed that I had called. And that one person hired me 2 years later.